Yeah.
All right, so now we get into the DM question of the week. And today is, how do you know that your players are bored?
Yeah, signs that your players are bored. So this one obviously is about about awareness as the DM. And to know, you need to know if your players are bored because you don't want them to be bored. So how can you make them not bored when they are bored if you don't know it?
Exactly.
So we're not going to be talking about specifically how to make your games more interesting because that is there's a lot of aspects, and we've already gotten into that a couple times in some episodes. We'll get into that even more, but this DM question is really, like, the answer is really just going to be just some quick stuff to look for, and if you see it, then there's a problem, and try to figure out what it is.
Yes. So the first thing, I kind of have like a list. I was just going to say.
Yeah, I kind of have a list too.
Yeah, so if you see someone like take out their phone and they're kind of like looking through it, just like.
So basically diverting their attention to anything other than the game.
What?
That must mean that whatever they're putting their attention on, assuming it's not like the pizza at the door or something, is more interesting than the game, especially phones. So if someone's on your phone and they're not just an annoying player that is always on their phone, then your game might be slow, and you should look at why. You should look at why they're not putting their attention on the game. Is nothing important happening? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a good anything that's not the game.
Yeah. I had another one. Another one is that they just keep like talking about like random things that don't pertain to the game.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of like a big one. It's like, how was the football game? Remember?
Yeah. It's like, okay, the Baylor walks out, and then it's like,
bro, the Packers won.
Yeah, the Packers won 7-3. It's like, if
it makes the Baylor sad.
Yeah, so obviously they're talking about things that aren't the game. Okay, do you have another one?
Don't really have a lot. I mean, if they say they're bored, I'm not sure if they can say that.
If they say, "Hey, we're bored."
Hey, we're bored.
If you didn't
hurry it up,
This may be hard to understand, but yeah, if they tell you you're bored, that they're bored, they probably are.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah. How about you?
So some other stuff is, this one is kind of, I think, the most common, and it's quick responses. And so basically it's like, if you're like, okay, what do you like, how do you do it, or what do you do? They're just like, okay, I stab them and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, if they clearly want whatever they're doing to be over as fast as possible, it probably means that they want whatever's happening in the game to be over as fast as possible, which probably means they're bored with it and they just want to move on. So that's a big one, and I have seen that before, unfortunately. But it's just how players typically, I think, will show it, because they don't want to say, I'm bored. They just want it to be exciting now, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to say that you're bad, because you're probably not, but they just want what's happening to be done so they can have fun again. And so typically how they do that is by trying to speed the game up themselves, at least from what I've noticed. Another one is, you can look at before and after the game. Are they talking about the session? Are they talking about the campaign? Or is it like, oh, the game's over, instantly they're talking about something else? And if that's the case, sometimes people do that, but other times it could mean that there's just nothing that they really cared enough to think about any further. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That has happened to me before. I'm like, how was it? And they're just like, okay, yeah, bro, I gotta go like bed, and I want to play some game. Just like sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty sad.
If you play really long sessions, that can happen, because people will be like, man, I've been here for 8 hours, like, I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're a player. I find DMing long sessions easier than playing them.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're constantly doing things. Well, a player, it's like, oh my god. You know what I mean? All day.
Alrighty, so
I have.
Oh, you have one more? Or a couple?
I have two more. One is if you're giving plot hooks, so you're like, showing like you're hinting at something. and then they make no effort to explore what you just did. So, if you're like, you see over there like a carving on a wall next to a stone door, and the NPC is like, oh, it's the blah 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 entrance, and then your PCs are like, all right, we're gonna keep going.
Just like
it's like,
the
do you
DM
not care
is
at all
just, like,
about what you just saw?
I put so much time into that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which could just mean your game in general is boring them, and they don't want, maybe like the town they're in or like the cave they're in, they're just so fed up with it that anything they find in that said town or cave is like, nope, we're not wasting any time in this spot. We are leaving. Stuff like that. So if they are like skipping over plot hooks when you clearly gave them something intriguing, that could be another sign that there's something off about your game, and think about it. Last one. This one I honestly don't even look at. Maybe I should, but I thought I'd include it because it seems obvious, is body posture. So if they're like leaned back, they have no particular interest in doing anything or taking any actions, then they're probably, that's just a very unconscious sign of where someone's mind is at. You know what I mean? If they're leaned forward and like, okay, what do I do? Then they're clearly in it. But if they're leaned back and they're just like, yeah, okay, I'll throw I'll shoot an arrow, I guess. Then
that's the worst. It's like, I shoot an arrow. It's just like, okay, roll to hit. It's just like,
yeah.
I shoot him. Okay.
But those are that's like a checklist. If your players are doing any of those things, it's a sign that you might be boring them a little bit, and it's okay. Everyone bores their players at some point, and you just gotta look at the situation and say, how can I fix it? And I'll leave it at that, just because we'll probably get into this more in another question.